Start the recording. Hey, you guys, it's February 1st. We have made it through January. It's always a great. So tonight on Through the Eyes of Authors, Marian LaSalle is going to speak to us about having a membership site and how you can use it to best support you. And so in the email, and if you followed up in the Facebook group, I just feel like 2021 is our year for Through the Eyes of Authors as a community. And so I think this is going to be beneficial in how we can all help each other grow in this, writers community and in other memberships that we're in. So I hope everyone has a pen and a piece of paper. I definitely do to take notes. But on that note, Marian, it is all over to you.
Okay, let me take a deep breath here. Okay, hi everybody. It's so good to see you. I'm happy to be here. I will be back, I don't know, in another 6 months or so to talk about something that everybody else is interested in. It's about Google. I know everybody gets all excited when you talk about Google, so look forward to that. I'm actually looking forward to it because when I teach a class, I have to learn it, right? All right. So today we're going to be learning about the easiest
Marian,
way.
Why don't you tell people a little bit about you and your background before you start on the presentation?
Oh, okay. If you want to do that, Sandy, since you know me so well, you've known me since day one.
I have. So absolutely. So I started Perceptive Marketing in 2002, right after I took an early retirement package from Compaq Computer Corporation as they merged with Hewlett Packard. And one of the first things that I learned was I should be networking, which I had no idea what that meant. And so I did some research, found out about it, made some phone calls. And I don't even know the name of the group. Marian, do you remember the name of the group? Oh, it was Houston Networking News was the first place I met.
Oh, okay.
So right as I was starting a business, so was someone else starting a networking business called Houston Networking News. And I met with Mike and what was the other guy's name? RD.
RD Roeder.
RD Yoder. And I met him. Actually, I met him online at the very first online networking or online thing I'd ever heard of called Rise, I believe is the name of it.
That's right, RIZE.
And I met him and we decided to meet in person, and I met with both of them in person. And so he invited me to. He was starting a he'd already started Houston Networking News for everyone, and he was starting a women's version of it. And he asked me to participate in that. And so I forgot we met at some restaurant, and I met Marian, first time I'd ever met her. She lived and worked south of Houston, and I'm northwest of Houston. So without a networking group, we would never have run into each other. But because we were meeting with this group, she came up from not Fairland, but I forgot where you Dickinson. Was it Dickinson?
Yeah, I lived in Dickinson and my office was in Clear Lake.
So Clear Lake is like right before you go into the ocean. And so we met and we decided that we liked each other. We decided that I would go down there and meet with her. And Amy lived in Clear Lake when she first moved to this area. And she did live on the water. So anyway, Marian and I met, and she had a computer company where they went out and did repaired your network. And so we got to be friends and started hanging out with each other. And I mean, so I've known her since then. And I told her once we do a lot of things together, and then something will happen and she'll go her way and I'll go my way. We won't see each other for sometimes a few years even. And then all of a sudden there'll be a meeting or there'll be something going on, and there's Marian and there I am, and we reconnect, and we're like, why did we wait all this time? And then we start again. And so that's happened for the last 20 years. And I am so glad that we stay connected. And Marion, I took my very first ever computer training course with Marion on how to build a WordPress website. And the main thing I learned from this course was I don't want to build websites. So, oh my gosh, the stuff, it was like I was a nervous wreck and it didn't work the way it was supposed to. And I didn't know what to do when it didn't. So I hired Marion. That's what I learned. And so I still have all my notes. I still have the website I created. As a matter of fact, it was Sandy and Friends. That's where I created the Sandy and Friends website, which is still there. I've still paid for it all these years, and I've never done anything with it. And now I'm going to. Sandy and Friends is coming soon. Sandy and Friends. So when I contacted Marion, because I saw that she was doing a course on Google, and I contacted her and asked her to come, and checked with Amy, and so we decided she could come this, and then this everything that's worked out is now she's going to be talking about membership groups and how to grow a membership. So, Marion, take it away.
Okay. Well, what Sandy forgot to mention is that I can't sit still for very long, so I get bored and I move on to something else, but it's always in technology. I don't zigzag around and start selling cookies. Okay. I really, for some reason, I'm really attracted to technology and what it can do for us. So mostly it's about people. I love people. So I started my own networking group because none of the other ones really fit me. I started my own everything. Everything I do, I just start my own. I don't know why. I don't fit in to other people's boxes. So I did web design for a while. I opened up a web design company, and I found that if you build a website, they don't come. Okay, we used to be able to build it and they come. They don't do that anymore. They don't for a long time. So then I started doing marketing because people really needed more marketing for their website or whatever they were doing. And so that's how I've kind of, because you might say, oh my God, Marion, you do so much. It's like, well, yeah, but it's all based around technology and what it can do for us as people, groups of people. I just love people. So I want to support, and that's my way of saying, if you need something, reach out. If I don't know how to do it, I can probably steer you in the right direction, because if technology stops you, just like Sandy said, it feels bad. It's like, you get panicky and, like you just want to tear your hair out and everything. And usually there's a real simple answer. Like, oh, well, if you just click on that, oh, I didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry. You can reach me at naturalcuriosity.life. And that is the best way to get a hold of me. Now, why is it naturalcuriosity.life? Well, because I'm just curious, as you could probably tell from what I've said. I'm curious about everything, and you can't fit me into a box. I used to have a company, I still do, called Painted Path Designs. And people will say, well, Marion, why don't you use your email for your company name? I'm like, wow, I'm way past that. I'm way past that. So I'm marion.lasalle@me.com. That fits me. That's who I am, Marion LaSalle, marion.lasalle.com. All right, so the reason I want to help you all think about creating a membership site is because people want to support people they like. So think about the group that you're in right now. People want to support Sandy. People want to support Amy. They keep coming back for a reason, right? They like the group. They like the community. And so think about that as you're becoming a more famous author, as you're building your community. If you give people what they want to come back and they want to support you. So never think of a membership site or sponsorship or anything like that as charity. Think about it as people want to support people so that you'll keep doing what you're doing. So I'm going to teach you tonight that you really don't have to do a whole lot for people to give you money. If anybody has any questions, once I start my PowerPoint, I won't be able to see you anymore. So just holler, okay? All right, any questions so far about where we're going, why we're going? No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I'm allowed to. Okay, can everybody see?
Yeah.
All right. I don't need that one right now. All right. Here we go. Maybe. All right, everybody can see easiest way to create a membership site? Support you, okay. All right, so basically we want the support from people like what we're doing. And I want to teach you how to create a membership site without having to build one. So think about, as I was building websites, before this technology came along, you would have to pay me somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000 to create a membership site. And that's probably on the low end. For an individual, it wasn't even something you could do. It was just too expensive. It's still expensive. So you don't really want to go and create your own membership site, but I'm going to show you how you can do it where it's almost free. So you're going to be able to share your message, develop a strong following, your community that you're building. I'm going to help you strategically continue to build that income over years. You'll have it as long as you possibly want money coming in, and you'll be able to blog, upload videos, upload your podcast. You'll be able to live stream right here on your membership site. You can create polls and a whole lot more. So what I've learned over the years is that your community wants the connection with you. Why do you think people stand in line, to get the author to sign their book? Do they ever see that again? They probably read the book and then they put it on their shelf, but they stood in line to buy the book so that they could have a connection with you. And you have to think about that. And sorry about the .com there. It's .life. Forget that naturalcuriosity.com on the bottom. Another thing I've noticed a lot is that you have to make it simple, not only for you, but for your audience as well. If you make it hard, they're going to drop off. They're just not going to stick around. And so I want to make this process for you easy. So here are our options right now. We have Patreon, we have Special Project, and we have the YouTube Join. Those are our three options for the membership sites that I'm talking about. Special Project is just starting out, and they have about 8 employees, and their backing is kind of shaky. You can do it, but I would stick with something that's been around for longer and has a lot more employees, sticking power, and that's Patreon. YouTube, everybody knows about YouTube, and they have a Join membership. It's pretty awesome. People are making a lot of money with the YouTube Join, but we're not going to be talking about those today. We're going to be really focusing on Patreon. All right. I did some research, and if you would like to see what kind of research I came up with, you can go to crunchbase.com/organization/special-project-inc, and also Patreon, crunchbase.com/organization/Patreon, and they will give you all the details of what I found about why you should go with Patreon instead of Special Project. Now, you're easily going to be able to share anything that you do, your book chapters, your anything that you do. If you do videos, if you do podcasts, which is audio, if you do Instagram, no matter where you are on the web, you're going to easily be able to share what you're doing on Patreon out to all of them. Now, there's a brand new one called Clubhouse And for those of you who don't know about Clubhouse yet, it's all audio and it's not recorded. So that's one that I found that you can't really share, but you could talk about it. You could build a community over there and send them to your Patreon. So this is Heather McDonald. She has a podcast. She has 4,763 patrons on Patreon that are paying her. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the first level she has is $10. I'll look it up in a few minutes. So think about that, 4,000 patrons times $10. That's a nice chunk of change. And she just has a podcast. She said she'd rather have, instead of Instagram followers, she'd rather have patrons, because guess what? The patrons are paying her. Same people. So the membership platform does work for all kinds of creators. There's somebody for everybody, right? There's somebody out there for you. I know there is. And so the authors and the publishers fit right into this platform. Now, I talked about this earlier. I'm not going to go over it again. You could pay me or someone else to build a membership site for you. But why? It takes 6 months, maybe a year, and you're going to pay lots of money. So why do that? Instead, you could maybe find a sponsor. Now I'm going to go over really quick, because this is a class that I give, and I'm not going to be able to, I don't have time to do it all. So I'm just going to kind of just skim over some of the things that I have found that people are making a lot of money on. And most of them are podcasts, because I teach podcasting. I'm also a show host, and I help people get podcasts up. So you're going to see quite a few of those. So this is a case study. They're making $11,000 a month. They have 2,661 patrons. This is a case study that I've been following for a while. They have jumped from what I just showed you to 16,000 patrons, $66,000 per month. So as you can tell, they're paying attention to what their audience wants. Okay. This is case study 2, another podcast. They're making about $6,000 a month. As of last month, they went down a little bit. They went from 2,300 a year ago to 2,200. So I'm not really sure why they went down a little bit. It's not much. This is just a stupid case study I did because I listened to this lady on YouTube. She has no Patreon. She has no website. She has nothing but a PayPal. And she's making about $2,000 a month just on her YouTube channel. And then people send her money through her PayPal. This is case study 3, another podcast. But here's something interesting. Do you see where it says 2,000 per podcast? That's not per month. So how many podcasts can you do in a month? Wow. Yeah. So they're making, as of last month, they were making $3,000 a podcast. So they're going up. In about a year, they really jumped up. This is another case study where I'm very interested, because a lot of people I know, and you included, might want to think about doing something for charity, opening up a 501(c)(3). And so this gentleman, this isn't like huge or anything. He just decided one day he was going to move into his van because his wife and his children took all his money, and he couldn't afford anything. But he seemed to like it so much. 20 years later, he's still living in his van. But he helped so many people that they started flocking to him. And he opened up his own charity. And it's called Homes on Wheels Alliance. And they're asking for $1 a month or $25 a month to help people who are homeless live in their van or their SUV. And so as you can see, he's got 362 patrons. He's making $1,500 a month. And this is all because he wanted to help people that were losing their homes. So I think it's an awesome idea. Think about Patreon as more than just making money for yourself. Another case study podcast, $5,000 a month. This is another podcast. It's a fun thing. Brain Candy, okay, 710 patrons. Maybe it's because they're blonde. I don't know. A year ago, they had 710 patrons. They have now closed it off, so you can't tell how many patrons they have or how much money they're making. They have hidden all of that. So I can imagine. So you can do that with this software. You can hide your money. You don't have to be transparent. This one will interest a lot of men. It's about bourbon. It's a podcast about bourbon, and $7,532 per month. Look at what they jumped up to in 1 year's time. $12,000 a month. $12,000 a month for a
I think
podcast.
Brian Bearden loves bourbon. We should show him this.
Yes, Bourbon Pursuit podcast. Okay.
I
Now
love bourbon, and I got my keg back there that I'm making bourbon in.
Oh, good. That's good.
I'm gonna have to join that one.
This one's interesting because I know this is an old client of mine. We built her first website. She's got 8 million subscribers on YouTube. Now, how did she build out an $8 million subscriber base? Well, it's because she really connects with her clients. And even though she doesn't have a Patreon anymore, she doesn't need it. What I noticed about her is that she really, really, really connects with her audience. So she wanted to connect with young girls. So 16 to 26 is the age bracket, and they were abused or neglected. And she really paid attention to them. When she would sell something, when she would talk about something on her YouTube channel, we had to beef up her website every time because otherwise it would crash. The woman really knows how to make money and how to satisfy her clients. I can only watch about 2 minutes of hers, and then I have to turn it off. It's just, she's an actress. If you met her in person, she's very calm and sweet. If you see her on YouTube, like I said, you might have to turn it off like I do. Another reason why I wanted to show you this is, do you see in the right-hand corner down here where it says join? So she has 2 different ways that you can join. Gator Hug, which is 99 cents a month, or Golden Gators, which is $4 a month. So that's another membership that you could do if you're into YouTube. They run it all on YouTube for you. Another podcast, $108,000 per month. And notice that they jumped up as of last month, $171,000 a month. I don't even know what they talk about, okay? Who knows? Chapo Trap House? I don't know. Whatever. This is a YouTube lady. She does videos, not YouTube. She does videos, and she posts those videos about makeup on Patreon. So you can get on there as an author and teach people how you write. It's the same basic principle. So she'll give you different things for different amounts. So $5 a month, you get this. $8 a month, you get that. $10 a month, you get this. She's got 784 patrons. And this one is debunking internet hoaxes. They're making about $10,000 a month. 406 patrons. This lady is an author. She creates different kinds of work, and and people are just really interested in it. I wish I knew more about her. She's creating worlds made of words. I really, really liked that. Now, this is a new one I just found today. Her name is Kate Kavanaugh, and I liked how she handled this. Whether you give her $1 a month or $10 a month, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. So as you're going up in your amounts, you can give your patrons more. But she said, to heck with it. You're all going to get the same thing. Give what you can. She's got 571 people paying her at least $1 a month. So I wanted to go over some of the notable communities on Patreon and just show you the types of people that are over here. Now this one, these are people who love to make music. These are people who love to create videos. Now these are writers and journalists. Do you recognize any of these people? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm.
Well, according to Patreon, they're notable. So does that mean they're famous? I don't know. Here's some nonprofits, notable nonprofits that are on Patreon. And every time I go to Patreon and look these up, they're different. So they highlight different people. What's interesting about this program is that this is not a social media site. You're not going to go to Patreon and find people. You have to know about you in order to go over there. So it's private and it's your people going over there. It's not like, open to people calling you names and asking weird questions and stuff. These are people who are wanting to support you. I think that's very important. This lady just decided, she took my class last time and decided she wanted to Patreon. And so I just wanted to kind of show you how I taught her how to go to Canva and make her background, to make her banner. And she just wants to really help people be healthy. So whether you're an author talking about health or you're a fiction writer, it doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing. You can make a community and have your community come over here and experience you. And I'm going to teach you a little bit more about how you do that. There's 3 ways that you can easily get paid. One is sponsors. Second one is the membership. And the third way is affiliate marketing. And I teach all 3. Right now, we're really focusing on the membership site in the middle. But sponsors are very doable for authors as well. So remember, it's not a donation. They are subscribing to get your content. They want you to keep making content. So I found this earlier today and I thought you might want to see it. This is the lady, the name of her company is The Creative Pen. And she talks about advertising and sponsorship. So I put the link in here so that you could see it, thecreativepen.com/advertising-and-sponsorship.
She is very well known as far as helping and teaching authors.
That's good. Well, here's how I found it. And I put it in here so you could see how easy it is. I typed in author sponsorship Google, and that's what came up. 76 million results. So if you want to learn about getting a sponsor for your work, wow. And you can run your sponsorship through Patreon, through the membership site that I'm telling you. How do they get paid? You don't pay any money up front. They take it when you make money. So 5% goes to MasterCard, Visa, 5% goes to them. And they handle everything. They handle, if a credit card got declined for some reason, they handle it. If if you have a problem, they handle it. If your customer has a problem, they handle it. And so that's well worth 5%, don't you think? I just wanted to kind of show you behind the scenes, back in the background. This is just, it shows you their tier. It shows you how much they're pledging, whether lifetime, that means that's how much they paid over a lifetime of the account. And it tells you their join date and their last charge. There's more too, of course, over on the left-hand side where you see where it says posts and Patreon or patrons and page. So when you click on posts, you can actually go in and create a post, and that is so cool. I'm going to take you over to a live demonstration of that. Once you click on patrons, then you could go in and see each person. So I could click on the top one and see exactly what their email is and how much they're paying, what happened. They could make comments. You just click a button and you can send them a message. They've got something brand new, and I don't want to forget about this. So I'm going to tell you now. They have a new program, and for those of you who know me, like Sandy, know that I really like to create graphics and put them on mugs and t-shirts and things like that. And they have a program now right here in Patreon where if you want, for 3 months, if they pay a certain fee, let's say you have a $25 level and they pay that for 3 months, Patreon will send them whatever you tell them, like a t-shirt or a mug or whatever. They ship it and they handle everything. It's pretty cool. It's brand new. That's a brand new service. Come tax time, you might want to know how much you're making, how much you've made, and you can kind of see how well you're doing over a period of time. So my thoughts are, you have to have a dream. You have to have a plan, right? So if you're an author and you're just making money on books and you haven't thought about doing anything like this, you might want to start dreaming bigger. You might want to start thinking about, well, how else can I make another stream of income? And set up all your social channels, set up your Patreon account, build engagement with quality content with your community, and then promote it and collaborate with other people. That's big. Think long-term, reoccurring income, mailbox money. I'm not going to go over this because most of you are not podcasters and that type of thing. So I'll just kind of skip over all that. You can go and check out my Patreon at patreon.com/naturalcuriosity. And I do run a mastermind on Tuesday nights just for technology. We teach technology over there and share with each other. And that is all. Ta-da!
Marian, do you have a Patreon account on your site?
Yeah, it's patreon.com/naturalcuriosity. I'm going to stop the PowerPoint and take you over to Patreon if you don't mind for just a minute. So I had to stop that because I didn't know how to stop the PowerPoint. So let me share my screen again, and just for a minute I want to take you over to Patreon. But got to click that little button that says computer sound. Okay, can you all see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is specifically at Patreon. You might want to hear after the class is over tonight, patreon.com/c/writing. And it tells you why writers and journalists can use a membership, why you should. It's really interesting. And it tells you a little bit about how you can have locked material so that no one can see it. Let's say you're doing a manuscript, or you have your first editor, your first edit. What do they call that?
Your draft?
Your draft. Some people pay money for drafts, right? I've heard that. So you might want to think about that. And then, of course, we talked about the notable writers, and they're very, very good about this. Okay, so let me take you over. I'll take you over to mine. I'm not going to log in. Okay. All right. So one of the things that I teach as far as technology goes is no one knew how I could make that move because you're not allowed to put videos up here. So I taught this the other day and people were just really amazed. This is a GIF. Okay. They'll accept a GIF, GIF, but not a video. All right, so the way I have mine set up is $5 thank you. Thank you if you just want to support me. And believe me, I do have them. They never come to anything I do. They just like to support me. Don't ask me. And then I have a mastermind group I charge $25 a month for. And then sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor, it's only $200 a month. And I tell you exactly what you get for each of those levels. And we do have another level. And I'm open book. I tell people exactly how many patrons I have and how much money I'm making. And also, if you want to look at my information, like I'm the one that paid for I paid the lawyer to do the crap at the end, right? You know, the terms and all that. You're more than welcome to use anything I have on mine. Now, what I do here is I come in and create posts. Okay, that's what I was telling you earlier. So these are just some of my posts. Recent posts by Natural Curiosity. So I'm talking about some free translation software. I have a cleaning lady and she can only speak Spanish and I can only speak English. And so I noticed that she was punching buttons and all of a sudden she could understand me and I could understand her. And so we got to talking about it, and it's Google. You just type it in and bam, there it is. I like to share stuff. So this was free on YouTube. So I shared Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. As you can see, now, here's the big thing, right? You can lock your posts. So you can have posts that are open to the public and you can have posts that are locked, which means they have to become a member. So you only put your good stuff in there. Well, not just your good stuff, you know what I mean? But you can upload videos, audios, pictures, any kind of graphics. You can write your blog post over here. I thought this was a pretty good one. Free publicity. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So I know I've taken up a lot of your time and I want to take any questions or comments.
Does anyone have any questions or comments or like ideas running through their veins? I'm having ideas running through my veins. Jeremy,
Yeah.
go.
Always. What do you mean always? Every time we get on here, I get all these ideas. This is similar to last week's where this is something that's been in the back of my head, but it just hasn't been appear in my head as something I've been thinking about. Charities and causes were what we talked about last week. So that brought it fully into my head of what I want to accomplish with that. This is something that I have thought about for a while and in terms of accomplishing it. I'll say my judgment that I've had for a long time around Patreon and people who have patrons and people who do it in my arena, which is not authorship, so that I don't encounter author patrons often, if at all. I don't think I've ever encountered an author patron. I'm sure that there's some out there, Patreon producer. But as an artist, there's a ton of artists who use Patreon to support whatever it is that they're doing. And I've had this big conversation, judgment chatter in my head about it, like those artists that are like half-baked artists that are just trying to do like something because they can't make it out there and whatever. I have had all this stuff about it. So help me get past that, like that idea of you Patreon people and you're just out there begging for whatever you're getting, because I do think it's viable. You just showed us a plethora of people who are hugely successful at this. So like I got to get past whatever my mental block is, and it's been around artists because there's a lot of these piddly. I'm clear that I'm being judgmental. Piddly little artists out there that are being just like, oh yeah, give me 10 to 150 for whatever the little thing that they're going to do that isn't so great in what I would think. Is it just about, okay, do you differentiate yourself? Because I don't want to be lumped in. That's what I just heard. Thank you. I don't want to be lumped in with those guys, because those guys get a lot of bad rap from the community. So how do I differentiate myself as a writer and an artist and everything that I am? Because my books all include illustration. They're game books, so they
Yeah.
include a lot of things. So it's definitely ripe for Patreon and use of it. How do I get past my own stuff though about not wanting to be included in those guys, or how do I differentiate myself from those guys?
Anybody want to tackle that one?
Jeremy, I think you're a differentiator because of how you approach what you do.
I can't because
Why would you want to compare yourself to what others do when you are such a unique, vibrant individual? People are going to flock to you because of your energy.
and because you produce quality material. That's
Well,
how you
that
get.
goes without saying, you're right.
Well, that's a big
course,
part. I
because-
think, Athena, you're hitting something. So what I saw in all the content that was making like really good money on Patreon and doing really well on Patreon, obviously they were stellar at what they do. They're really, really top notch in their material. The quality of their material is very, very, very high. So then time becomes the other factor. So that's what I just heard now. It's like, oh my gosh, that's like another, it's like podcasts, for example. I mean, podcasts, I know there was a lot of podcasters on there. Time, when we had the podcaster guy, and his name is eluding me, he was so great. And I really enjoyed the conversation. I really, truly want to do a podcast for my authorship, including the game.
Oh, deal?
Then time becomes a factor.
Yeah.
So is Patreon something, so as authors, we are writing the product that we're doing, and we have all given ourselves self-imposed time constraints to do that, right? And so what I have this constant conversation is time. Like I have this time constraint that I've chosen to do this. If I take the time to run a Patreon at the same time, it's going to take time from the finishing of the product that gets it into the hands of the people, some of whom have already paid for it
Yeah.
because there was pre-sales in.
Let me
And-
just say this, Jeremy, let me just say this.
Clearly, I'm having all kinds of stuff.
No. Athena introduced me to Patreon months ago, probably a year ago, because she watches all these YouTube and all these people who are furniture rehabbers and painters. She loved painting furniture. And so she's the one who showed me this Patreon, and she wanted to know how could we use it as part of the publishing business to get Patreon and I looked at it, and of course I look at things and say, oh yeah, that sounds real interesting. But then I don't go back to something because I have no idea how we're going to advertise this thing.
Yeah.
And I did see other writers who would put up, like, as you're writing your story, they put up a couple of paragraphs or something.
Excerpts.
Well,
Mhm.
right, excerpt paragraphs, oh, this is what I'm working on. This is my future idea, anything that people are interested in. Like if I say, oh, I got an idea for a new book that I want to write, and I just put that out there. And because people
Yeah,
are already
contests too. You
paying
could
me.
do contests, what do you help me name my next book, Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of
seen
stuff.
some artists that I successful wise out there that are doing Patreon, and they often will do things like that.
You know what? I'm going to tell you right now that it's not for everybody. Okay. It's not for everybody. And I think that really, Jeremy, right?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Okay. Jeremy and everybody else that's listening here. I got over that a long time ago. If you don't like what I do, then don't come. Okay. I don't need you to, tell me that I'm great, because let's just face it, I am right now.
That's accurate, right?
No, I just don't care anymore. I care, but I'm not willing to let them decrease my income because they think it's stupid or they think I'm, a taker or whatever. I finally got over that. I don't give it any thought anymore. I just do what I want to do.
Yeah, well, that's accurate. Well, that actually does help, because that's if I can just let go of that, it would help. And I think the other part of it is timing. So that's a Sandy, conversation. I think timing for all of these things, that we've had such great
Yes.
information given to us within
Yes.
Through the Eyes of
Yeah.
Authors,
And I do
all of our
want to talk
timing
about
is
time. Okay. I
okay,
do want
yeah.
to talk about time a little bit because you can use this. Okay. So you talked about marketing, James. You can use this as a way to share your stuff out on the other social medias you're already on. So if, like you said, help, run a contest or write a blog post or write, excerpts of your latest chapter, whatever it is you're going to do. And then you can take that link from Patreon for that post and share it out to all the other places. LinkedIn, YouTube, not YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, any place that you could share a link. That's where you put your Patreon. That's
So you
what
put
I
it
do.
on Patreon first and share it from there to
Right.
other
There you go.
places. Okay,
That's
that's
it.
the part that I didn't really catch the
That's it.
connection between one to the other.
Yeah, you can use it like a blog. You don't even have to
Yeah.
have a website anymore. You can use this as your home base. Send everybody to Patreon.
Yeah. The people that I've observed be very successful on Patreon do that always. They
and something I
put
just
their
thought,
content in Patreon and then they spread it from there. I'm sorry.
something I just thought about, and I know, Robs, you have a Medium. You and Charles do a Medium channel or whatever. And I've always thought you can't do Medium and Patreon before I even knew there was a Patreon and all of these. But then it just occurred to me that Patreon is like Medium, only you can have people give you money here, where I don't think that's a possibility on Medium. Medium
Correct.
just put
That is
your
correct.
content.
That's
So
correct. You could send people from Medium over to your Patreon.
Right. That's true. So there's right now we're in this time where there's this explosion of different places. I thought of Twitch. It's another one that we've seen, and I've watched people do things on video there. There's so many, and really, if you try to do all of them, then you're not being effective anywhere. So if you can choose the one or two, and here you have YouTube and Patreon kind of together. So it makes sense that we choose one and focus on that, but do the same thing that you would do on another one, but you just focus on one or two, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Marion?
Okay, so I didn't mention this at first, but I'll give you an example. I'm really all about that. Let's do it one time, okay? So I start out with a live stream. So I'm a live stream show host. I have clients who pay me to run all the technology, and they show up on camera, and I do everything that they need to have done. And at the end of the show, I take that audio out and I push it up to all the podcast platforms. So they just do one video, and it gets transcribed. It gets uploaded to podcast for audio, and then so you have your written, you have your video and your podcast all at one time. Bam.
Now, what do you use for the live stream?
I use StreamYard.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a pretty good deal because I don't really like to work too hard. I want to play more. So if I can just do it live, that way I don't even have to do any editing. I do a live stream. It goes up whether a dog walked by or a dog barked or jackhammers outside, doesn't matter. I just say, oh, that's what it's like, working from home, and mute myself real fast or whatever it is I need to do. Or I have a co-hosting office that I can go to on those days when I have very special guests or someone's paying me for a very important meeting. Then I'll go in and do a private office. It's only $20 an hour.
What was your streaming service? I'm sorry.
A StreamYard.
StreamYard, and so when you use StreamYard, it goes out everywhere, like Facebook, YouTube, etc.
It can, yeah. There's different software that allow it to go up to like 300 places. Now, do I really want it to go to 300 places? No, I choose to have it go to LinkedIn, Facebook, a Facebook group, and let's say YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, for my clients, whatever they want, I connect the software to whatever that they have. So let's say they have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. We can send it to both of them at the same time.
Nice.
So Marian, I have a couple of questions. The first is related to something Jeremy said. What we keep hearing over and over and over again about social media is that you have to be consistent, that you have to do it regularly. So for this to be on Patreon, what are you talking about? Are you talking about loading something every day, twice a week? What are we talking about? And how long are these segments or pieces that people are uploading?
It's wide and varied, Julie. I can't give you a pat answer, but I can tell you for myself, I do a live stream once a week. And so it's called Opportunity Knocks. And I have guests on and things like that. So once a week, I have a newsletter that goes out, and I have a live stream, and I tell people what I'm doing, and I can take that and put it up. So once a week I have something, right? On those other days that I might want to put something up there, if you want to do more than once a week, you could write a blog post, or you could share something that somebody else did. So you noticed on mine, I shared other people's things, right? Like how to get Google to pay attention to you. It was on Medium. It was somebody that wrote something on Medium. So you don't have to create all the content yourself, as long as you're staying in front of your audience and you're giving them what they want. Doesn't have to be yours. So minimum once a week, Julie, if that helps you.
Okay, minimum once a week. So I don't understand how you can take someone else's work and put it on your site and monetize it, but that's me. I mean, I guess I'm too used to.
No, Julie, let me answer that, because that's a very important question she has here. Okay, so those are open to the public, okay? Remember you saw where I had some locked? That locked stuff is mine, okay? I don't put anybody else's behind a paywall, okay? Only my own material. So when I teach a class, I put it up on YouTube under unlisted, so you have to have the link in order to see my stuff, right? And I can take that over to Patreon and put it in behind a locked area. So that's my stuff, and no one can see it unless they're a member. But it's just like Facebook. You can put anything up there. You can share anything.
And if you were going to share something that someone else had either put on Medium or put on YouTube or put in their blog, then you have that open. So anyone, they can see it. But the reason, Julie, that's so popular today is because, first of all, you're giving them publicity. So anything I ever put anywhere, I make it public, because I want everybody to share what I put there. I don't want it to be private. I don't want it to be exclusive and only a few people be able to see it. I want everybody to be able to see it. And that's how 99 and 9/10% of the world is right now. Share my stuff. But again, like Marian, you don't make money on it because you don't put it in a locked place where you have to pay to see it. So I think that's like one of the but that is, I do understand. I know some people have had issues with that, but the main thing is to be able to you're helping them, you're sharing it with them. So the reason we wanted Marian to talk today is because Amy, Amy and I together started Through the Eyes of Authors like 3 years ago. And it's been going the whole time. We just have never really pushed getting new members. And now we want to do that for the rest of this year to push getting new members. But we also want, if you wanted to start a group on Patreon or Patreon or anywhere else, if you wanted to start your own group of people that were either publishers or like I know that you're connected with Rice, and if you wanted it to be specific to people that graduated from Rice and you wanted to start it, then you could have an opportunity, any of you, to build a tribe. If you want to have your own community, I wanted a community, have always wanted a community where authors could support one another, that authors could help each other. So when you have a book launch, we all become your book launch team. When you're working on your book and need an editor, there's people we can recommend to you. If someone comes on new and needing a publisher, we have one new person that Amy just this week took to meet with Fern about editing and some other things that she'll be doing. Ashlyn, most of you know Ashlyn. So we want to be there to support people who join this group through the eyes. We want people here who see the world through the eyes of authors. And that's the purpose of this group. And that's, you're going to be seeing a lot of, Amy and I are working together on some things to do for training and support to do that for the rest of this year. And that's building this group. And it's Amy doing it. I'm going to be helping her in the background, and we're meeting to plan some different promotions and things that we can do. But we wanted it to be also open to anyone in the group who would like to start their own group and do more than do you can all create a Facebook group and get people there. But this is a way you can have a group, and we can help you get people in your group. But you can also charge for it, and charge, as Marion said, $5 for people that just want to help you, or on up to a few $100s if you want people to get your services through the group. So that's one of the reasons that we're talking about this tonight. So thank you, Julie, for that question and that opportunity to explain kind of that's where we're going.
Okay, I have a couple of more questions. I see we're coming up to the hour, but Sandy just raised another one for me. I mean, one of the ideas that occurred to me as you're talking, Marion, is I'm working on a book that's a memoir. And it's really in the beginning stages, but I've already got to chapter 3. So let's say I started a Patreon site and I could put my first draft of chapter 1 and carefully explain that this is just the first draft, and what you get to see is as the book develops and changes and grows, how it started versus how it ends up. But that's a work in progress, and I got to protect my work in progress. I mean, I don't want it to be out there where anybody can use it or take it or do whatever. So that would be behind your locked door. And does that protect it at all?
No. So because the members would have access to it, you would still be open. They could share it.
Yeah.
So
If you want to copyright it or something,
right.
protect it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my third question is, and everybody knows this, is one of the problems I have. It sounds like I'm like you a bit, Marion. I don't stick to one thing. I jump around. So I have a nonfiction travel book. Now I have a children's book. I'm writing a memoir. But does Patreon work best if it's just one topic that, so your people know when they're coming there, they're going to get sci-fi or they're going to get historical romance?
I would think so. I would think so, Julie. I would think that your audience would not want a children's book one day and a totally different book another day. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, that would be a separate Patreon. You could have two. It's free. They don't charge you anything.
Marion, in that case, would it work for Julie if she had she had a blog? Let's just make it simple. She has a blog and she's very creative at adding content to her blog. And so she has two different areas. She has an area that caters to people who like children's books, and does a blog about, how you're creating. It wouldn't even have to be necessarily your content, Julie, but it could be elements that you're blogging about that remind you of how to put a children's book together. Conversely, you've done so much travel and seen so many things. You know, maybe you have that for adults that are traveling, things to see, places to go. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's what Jeremy said before. I don't know that I have enough time to do it. I still think it's a good idea, and I've seen authors do it. And having that exclusive content, it's not so much that you're going to publish it. It's special for people that are members.
Yeah. Yep, special. It's special. And you could have more than one. Since it doesn't cost you anything to set it up, I don't know if you have the inclination or not, but you can hire people to do it for you. Or you can hire somebody to help you get it up. And, there's the graphic, and then, but once it's up, all you're doing is adding content. They're taking care of all the rest of it. That's what's so great about it. They take care of everything. Okay, bye, Red. It's really no big deal. It's literally just like a blog. You upload something that's already done. You don't have to write it there. It could be something you've already done, a video or a blog post or something you want to share. It's really no time at all. It's no more time than going over to Facebook, honestly. Good night, Rox.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this. You're more than welcome. I have the full class on Saturday. If y'all want to see this again, or you want to hang out with me, for a little while, I have another one on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And if you go back to my Patreon page, you'll see it tomorrow. You'll see the promotion for it. I'll set it up first thing tomorrow morning, and you can hang out with me again.
Awesome. Marion, can you send that to me and Sandy in an email, and I'll put it in our private group on Facebook for everyone
Sure.
or anything like that.
Sure, I sure will.
Any last minute questions before we close it out for the evening?
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Marion. That was great.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you, Marion. It's awesome. It's always great to have a presentation. I learned so much from you. I just absolutely love it. But I hope everyone has a great Monday. I'll be hopefully uploading this to the membership site tomorrow morning. But I'll see the rest of you guys on Friday. But have a good rest of the week until then, everybody. Bye, you guys.
Bye.